So I noticed a very gradual uptick in Logias and how their abilities are incorporated in technology. And it starts with the first Logia in the series, in Smoker. Of course, Smoker is the user of the Plume Plume fruit, which allows him to turn into smoke. He uses his abilities to power his own personal vehicle called the Billower Bike, which works off of his smoke. Then, when we're introduced to Pork Ass the Ace, he has a weird little dingy ship called the Striker that's powered by his Flame Fruit abilities. Moving even further on, we have Kuzan, and I think this is probably where Smoker got the idea for his Billower Bike, because we find out later too that Smoker and Kuzan are very chummy, but Kuzan has his own method of transportation that's basically lamer than everyone else's, but it makes so much practical sense that you forgive him for it. He has a bicycle, and in conjunction with his Devil Fruit powers, which allow him to turn into ice because he is the user of the ice fruit or the chili fruit, he just rides his bike across the ocean. And as he rides his bike, it just freezes, making a path, which I always found super cool and creative, because you wouldn't even think that that would be an ability somebody would be able to do. But yeah, he does it, and it's amazing. But with that being said, that brings us to the final entry, and I think the biggest one. We have Borsalino, otherwise known as Kizaru. He is the most important Logia so far in the series when it comes to technology, because even though his abilities weren't incorporated into a vehicle, they have been incorporated into a number of weapons and possibly hologram technology, because we find out that every single pacifista, which is a type of automaton made by Vegapunk for the purposes of the Marines, uses a variant of his laser. But of course, the reason why he can generate said lasers is because Kizaru is the user of the Glint fruit, which allows him to turn into light. We also find out too that this technology had been developed fairly early in Vegapunk's career, because the blueprints for how to build such a replication device are found in his old laboratory on his home island. That's how Frankie was able to incorporate the technology into himself so he can perform the move Radical Beam, which is the same as the Pacifista lasers. Then we find out too that his ability has been used either further on in the latest series of Pacifista, which are called the Seraphim. So it's very funny that this idea has always been associated with Logias throughout the series, starting from our first Logia in Smoker all the way up to one of the latest Logias in Kizaru. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I just want to point that out because it's a very gradual increase of how important or how diverse a Logia power can be used when it comes to various vehicles and or technology. But with that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede Rexy.